You're now with me, Razi Ahmad, for TVS Nightline. Here are the headlines for tonight. The Batang Lupar Bridge No. 2 slated to be Malaysia's tallest cable-stayed bridge. Japan's Sumitomo Corporation is looking to have more involvement in green projects in Sarawak. And 88 longhouses in Tangusan wish for a portion of the state's 2024 development budget be used to upgrade their logging roads. The Batang Lupar Bridge No. 2 will be Malaysia's tallest cable-stayed bridge, standing at 145.5 meters high. Deputy Sarawak Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Uga Ambas said the construction of the 223.6 million ringgit bridge is currently at 42.65% completion, 14 days ahead of schedule.
According to Uga, apart from becoming a new landmark for Semangang, the bridge will also open up vast areas for agriculture and economic activities.
Kosnya adalah kontrak SAM 223 juta, 223.6 juta. Then we are very happy with the progress. Nampaknya on schedule, malah 14 hari ahead of schedule. Dan oleh demikian kami mengharapkan jambatan ini akan siap pada bulan Julai 2025. Dan dengan siap jambatan ini, ianya akan membuka kawasan-kawasan ini. Dan dari jambatan ini, Seriaman terus pergi ke Batang dan terus keluar di Penbonu.
He said this at a press conference after officiating the Save Man Hours Without Lost Time Injuries (LTI) ceremony in Sri Aman earlier today. Commenting further, Uga said bridge will also shorten the travelling time from Sri Aman to Batang to about 20 minutes compared to 1 hour on the Pan-Borneo Highway for a distance of 75 kilometers. He also believed that more facilities will also pop up around the vicinity of the bridge, which will bring economic benefits to nearby residents.
Meanwhile, Sumitomo Corporation Asia and Oceania is looking to have more involvement in green projects in Sarawak. Deputy Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan, said the projects include bamboo biomass, renewable energy, carbon capture, utilization and storage or CCUS, green metals, as well as chemicals and derivatives.
Following a meeting with Sumitomo Corporation in Singapore on Thursday, Awang Tengah, who is also Minister for International Trade, Industry and Investment, Mintred, said that Sumitomo Corporation has a presence in Sarawak through involvement or in other projects. He added Sumitomo Corporation is already familiar with the comparative advantages that Sarawak has to offer. They are currently developing a hydrogen-related production project in Bintulu and endeavours to explore opportunities in Sarawak's green and digital economy. Also present at the meeting was Sumitomo Corporation Asia and Oceania Group CEO Keiko Shiomi, Sarawak Timber Industry Development Corporation General Manager Haji Zainal Abidin bin Haji Abdullah, STIDC Advisor Datu Hashim bin Bojet, Invest Sarawak CEO Timothy Ong, and Pusaka Capital CEO Muhammad Nur Tope Julaihi.
More than 40,000 residents living in 88 longhouses in Tangusan in the northern region of Sarawak are longing for a portion of the state's development budget for 2024 to be directed towards upgrading 1,000 kilometers of logging roads in the region. Tangusan Assemblyman Dato' Dennis Ngau emphasized the need to upgrade these logging roads, which date back to the 1980s and 1990s, as they serve as vital transportation links for the residents in the area.
Dennis disclosed that Tangusan upgrading the 1,000 kilometers of logging roads will undoubtedly result in high expenses. During the tabling of Budget 2024 on October 13 last year, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim announced a development expenditure of 5.8 billion ringgit for Sarawak, an amount higher than 5.6 billion allocated in Budget 2023. Meanwhile, Dennis said the involvement of people's representatives in planning and funding distribution is crucial, as they have a better understanding of the people's need, thus utilizing the annual allocation to the fullest and making sure the funds reach the grassroots levels. According to him, the establishment of regional economic development agencies, such as the Highland Development Agency HDA in Sarawak in 2017, can serve as a model for achieving a more defined mission.
Meanwhile, the body of 28-year-old Constable Iskandar Ibrahim, a policeman who perished in the boat incident near SK Lepong Baleh in the Kapit division, was found earlier today, 9 days after the incident transpired. Iskandar was the last victim to be found in the tragedy that also claimed the lives of another colleague, Sergeant Jonathan Lambert, and 2 civilians who were on the ill-fated boat that capsized after getting caught in a whirlpool in the waters of Sungai Batang Baleh at around 5 p.m. on March 7.
A teacher, along with several other passengers aboard a passenger boat returning from SK Pelagos to Kapit, spotted the floating body in the river and immediately contacted the Kapit Fire and Rescue Department.
Pasukan mencari dan menyelamat telah menerima makluman daripada orang awam telah ternampak mayat terapung di kawasan Teluk Seputin, kira-kira 7 km ke hilir dari lokasi tempat kejadian. Bapa mangsa telah membuat pengecaman dan mengesahkan mayat adalah anaknya, iaitu Konstable Iskandar Ibrahim.
Upon receiving the information, a search and rescue team rushed to the location, confirmed the identity of the body, and handed the body over to Kapit Hospital for autopsy.
Pihak kami amat bersyukur kerana akhirnya mangsa terakhir telah berjaya ditemukan pada jam 11.30 pagi tadi. Mayat mangsa telah dibawa ke Hospital Kapit dan proses bersiasat akan diadakan pada jam 8 pagi esok.
Meanwhile, residents living along Hulu Batang Rajang who rely on boats for transportation are reminded to buckle up and take the necessary precautions during the current rainy spell to avoid any untoward incidents.
A total of 100 students from 12 primary schools and 6 secondary schools around the Petra Jaya constituency were celebrated during the Breaking of Fast event with state civil servants at the Sarawak State Legislative Assembly complex this evening. The event was graced by the presence of the Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Joritun Openg, along with his wife, Puan Sri Datuk Amar Jumanitun Tuanku Bujang. After breaking fast, Abang Johari presented contributions from the State Welfare and Sports Council of Malaysian Government Employees, or MAKSAK, to the students.
Among the national schools involved were SK Astana, SK Encik Buyong, SK Rakyat Tupong, SK Gita, SK Madrasah Datuk Haji Abdul Kadir Hassan, SK Merpati Japang, SK Rakyat, SK Rancangan Perumahan Rakyat, SK Semariang, SK Semera Padi, SK Siol Kanan, and SK Tan Sri Datuk Dr. Haji Sulaiman Daud. Meanwhile, the national secondary schools included College Datuk Patinggi Abang Haji Abdillah, SMK Tun Ahmad Zaidi, SMK Demak Baru, SMK Putrajaya, SMK Semera Padi, and SMK Tunku Abdul Rahman. Subsequently, Abang Johari and other Muslim guests performed the Maghrib, Isha, and Sunat Tarawih prayers at the Level 1 Surau, led by the Sarawak Grand Imam Datuk Mustafa Kamal Ahmad Fauzi. Also present at the event were his deputies Datuk Ahmad Dr. Sim Kui Hian and Datuk Ahmad Douglas Uga Embas, Sarawak Dun Speaker Tan Sri Datuk Ahmad Muhammad Asfia Awang Nasa, Deputy Speaker of the House Datuk Idris Buang, Sarawak Utilities and Telecommunications Minister Datuk Julaihi Narawi, Sarawak State Secretary Datuk Ahmad Muhammad Abu Bakar Marzuki, and other dignitaries.
Ramadan Bazaar vendors are advised to uphold integrity and to maintain the quality of their products. Japa Assemblyman Iskandar Turki stressed the importance of such practice in preserving the reputation of food traders, especially during the holy month.
Saya minta lah kepada peniaga-peniaga jalankan perniagaan secara berhemat, berintegriti. Kita tak nak dengar lah macam-macam bersih lah. Selalunya kalau bulan puasa tu bersihnya apa? Dari pap apa? Dari pap angin lah, dari oksigen lah, macam-macam lah. Ataupun ada yang recycle ke apa. Jadi kita haraplah ada fungsi-fungsi seorang peniaga mengingat ahli masing supaya berdagang dengan cara yang jelas dan berintegriti lah. Jaga imej kita sebagai peniaga.
He said this while officiating the Ramadan Bazaar at Lasar Kenyalang Bintulu on Thursday evening. He also hoped that the management of the Bintulu Development Authority BDA and the police will continue to ensure that the facilities and safety of bazaar traders in and around Bintulu city are maintained throughout this Ramadan period.
Fulfilling fasting obligations under the scorching El Niño phenomenon or extreme hot weather currently affecting the country proves not to be a hindrance to carrying out daily tasks in the pursuit of livelihood. For Madhi Borhan, employed as a school gardener in Miri, neither Ramadan nor El Niño pose any obstacles to fulfilling his duties in landscaping and tending to gardens as usual.
Yalah, kalau dah dalam keadaan macam tu, kadang-kadang kami aturkan kerja lah, yang tempat yang lindung, sehari-hari tempat yang panas, kalau ada yang perlu je lah. Sebab tugas tu punya kebanyakannya tanam dengan bunga, dan yalah, menyelenggara kebun lah, macamnya aja.
Meanwhile, for Alwi Abdul Rahman, working as a security guard requires him to spend a lot of time outside in the hot sun, supervising students at school and making the rounds.
Cabaran kami waktu bulan Ramadan tu adalah cuaca panas disebabkan musim kemarau tu, macam-macam lah. Tengah hari kita kena berdiri di luar menjaga budak sekolah untuk yang balik sekolah, dan petang yang kedua dia sesi petang balik jam 6. Itulah cabaran yang paling susahlah bagi kami ni bulan Ramadan, cuaca panas. Yalah, musim ni bulan Ramadan ni waktu cuaca panas ni, yalah kita berkorban sajalah, tunggu waktu berbuka kita dapat minum. Tapi kita terpaksa menahan sajalah daripada kehausan tempat yang cuaca macam kemarau tu.
With over 20 years of experience in construction work, Alamin considers working during Ramadan under sweltering hot weather is not an issue. He says he earns more income by building houses privately in this blessed month.
Karena saya sudah biasa, jadi ya memang ada berat lah. Tapi sudah biasa ini, macam sudah terbiasa, jadi tidak terlalu berat lah, macam biasa saja.
The hot weather is expected to persist nationwide until the end of March. The Malaysia Fire and Rescue Department Sarawak has identified several hot spots in the state, such as in the Baram area in Miri, Sri Aman, as well as several areas in northern Sarawak, including in Lawas and Limbang.
Coming up right after the break, European Islamic thinkers and scholars propose strategies to combat Islamophobia. And in world news, Brunei spends $1 million Brunei dollars to send airdrops to Gaza. Right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. Welcome back. European Islamic thinkers and scholars have proposed that Malaysia take the initiative to formulate effective strategies in combating Islamophobia. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said this was discussed during his meeting with them in Berlin, Germany on Thursday. Among those present in that meeting were thinkers and scholars from the International Institute of Islamic Thought, the Arab World Institute, and the Middle East and Mediterranean Research Center, or SURMA.
Anwar added that the discussion touched on several topics, including the role of scholars and new challenges rising from rampant Islamophobia in Europe today. They also discussed the steps that need to be taken to address these issues, especially in the West. Anwar is currently in Germany for a 6-day official visit, which began on March 11th.
A total of 23 cases of heat stroke were reported in Health Ministry facilities from January until last Monday. Health Director General Datuk Dr. Muhammad Razi Abu Hassan said of the reported cases, only one in Langkawi involved a patient being referred to the intensive care unit or ICU. Meanwhile, he advised the public to avoid direct sun exposure due to current hot weather conditions. And should there be a necessity to go outside, Razi advises taking preemptive measures, such as using an umbrella or wearing clothes that cover the body in its entirety. The progressive wage model endeavors to align salary increments with productivity and expertise, thereby benefiting both businesses and workers. Consequently, the Small and Medium Enterprises Association, or SAMENTA, is urging the government to prioritize upskilling Malaysians for higher-paying jobs by attracting high-value industries rather than solely addressing demands for increasing the minimum wage.
SAMENTA's National President, Datuk William Ng, noted that the job market has undergone significant changes post-pandemic, rendering traditional definitions of jobs, workplaces and wages outdated. Ng also said that the close proximity to Singapore and the depreciation of the ringgit have led to a situation where many of Malaysia's trained and highly skilled workers are being lured away by opportunities in neighbouring countries. In Penang and nearby Kulim alone, there are over 50,000 vacancies for engineers and technical staff that remain unfilled, despite the industry offering monthly salaries ranging between 3,500 ringgit and 6,000 ringgit. The situation persists despite the commendable efforts of both public and private educational institutions to produce skilled workers. Additionally, the Malaysian labour market operates with high efficiency, and employers who fail to offer competitive wages risk facing challenges that could lead to their closure.
Back on TVS Nightline, Brunei Darussalam has allocated over $1 million Brunei dollars to deliver 5,920 ready-to-eat meal packages to Gaza via airdrops. According to a press release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued on Thursday, the drops were targeted at the northern coastal areas of Gaza, where thousands of Palestinians are stranded and starving.
The statement read, the aid consists of ready-to-eat meal packages that are long-lasting, whereby each food package contains breakfast, lunch and dinner for one person. The handover event took place at the King Abdullah II Air Base and it was attended by representatives from the Brunei Embassy in Amman, Jordan and the Jordanian government. Brunei Darussalam executed the first delivery on March 13, 2024, comprising 2 airdrop operations using Jordanian military aircraft, while the implementation of 2 additional airdrops is scheduled separately on the afternoons of March 14, 2024 and March 15, 2024 at the same location. The food airdrops were funded by Brunei's Humanitarian Fund for Palestinians in Gaza 2023.
Wedged between Lake Kivu and the Masisi Mountains in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, the town of MINOVA has been severed from the rest of the country by fighting between rebels and government troops and collapsed infrastructure. MINOVA has effectively become an island since M23 March 23 rebels cornered several units of the Democratic Republic of Congo's Army, FARDC, into MINOVA Bay in February, with all their land supply routes cut off.
Small wooden boats and emergency helicopters are now the only means of escape for the 65,000 residents and 300,000 displaced people sheltering in MINOVA. The town has no power or supply lines, according to Jean-Paul Kankou, a governing chief for MINOVA and 12 surrounding villages. In recent weeks, the Tutsi-led M23 have been extending control north of Goma, the largely isolated capital of North Kivu province, and beyond MINOVA, seizing towns and Congolese army bases. In mid-2022, the rebels, accused by Dr. Congo, the United Nations and Western countries of being supported by the Rwandan army, began to implement their administration in the last vast swathes of the North Kivu region that they had captured since resuming arms in 2021, after 8 years of dormancy. Tens of thousands of soldiers, UN peacekeepers, and so-called Wazalendo armed fighters have tried in vain to recapture even the tiniest of villages. Now, Congolese and Burundian soldiers and militiamen roam around MINOVA town center with weapons slung across the shoulders.
Russians began voting on Friday in an election set to prolong President Vladimir Putin's rule by 6 more years, as Ukraine branded the vote a farce and launched a barrage of deadly attacks on the border regions. Officials in Moscow warned against any protests during the March 15 to 17 presidential vote after calls from the opposition for anti-Putin demonstrations on Sunday.
The Kremlin says the vote will show that the country is fully behind his assault on Ukraine, and polling stations have been set up in Russian-held territories. Ahead of the election, Kiev ramped up its aerial bombardment of Russian regions just across their shared border. The Russian National Guard said it was fighting off attacks from pro-Ukrainian militias in Kursk, the latest in a string of border clashes. Polling stations opened in Russia's easternmost Kamchatka Peninsula at 8 a.m. local time on Friday and are set to close at 8 p.m. on Sunday in Kaliningrad, a Russian exclave bordering Poland and Lithuania.
The release of wastewater from Japan's stricken Fukushima nuclear plant was suspended early this morning following an earthquake. Japan's meteorological agency said a 5.8 magnitude jolt struck off the coast of the northeastern Fukushima region, home to the plant wrecked by a tsunami in 2011.
Several hours later, TEPCO in a statement assured that no abnormalities were detected and stated that the water release would resume. The statement added that no leak of radiation was detected after TEPCO finished necessary checks, while readings from monitoring posts remain normal. Meanwhile, Japan's Nuclear Regulatory Authority said shortly after the quake, no abnormalities were detected at either the wrecked Fukushima Daiichi plant or its sister plant Fukushima Daini. Last August, TEPCO began releasing into the Pacific Ocean around 540 Olympic swimming pools worth of wastewater that has collected at Fukushima Daiichi since the 2011 accident, one of the world's worst nuclear disasters. The operation has been endorsed by the United Nations Atomic Agency, and TEPCO says all radioactive elements have been filtered out except for tritium, levels of which are within safe limits. However, the action was heavily criticized by China and Russia, and following that, the two countries banned Japanese seafood imports, saying that Japan is polluting the environment. Japan experiences hundreds of earthquakes every year, and the vast majority cause no damage. There were no immediate reports of injuries from the latest jolt, and there was no tsunami warning.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. For more headlines anytime, anywhere, just head on to our official website at tvsarawak.my or follow us on our social media platforms at TV Sarawak. And those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Razi Ahmad. Thank you for watching and have a good night.